that while the Patriots will have a competent offense, the 49ers have a great offense. And so everyone knows that when you're a big-time NFL superstar, and you're doing the promotional circuit, you got to stop by the happy hour. Deebo Samuel drinks free whenever he walks into the bar. He's a returning guest, a recurring guest, if you will, one of our favorites. Yesterday, Jay and I sat down with Deebo Samuel to talk to him about the 49ers offense and the difference between last year and this year. This year, it's clear this team is Brock Purdy's team. How is this offense different under Brock Purdy, and specific to you in terms of your connection with Brock Purdy?
What's so crazy? I don't think it's, too much different. We're running the same plays, same guys in the huddle. But I feel like, Brock do a really good job of being the leader that we need him to be, commanding the huddle, and just like the energy and all the stuff that he brings, and kind of, kind of piggyback off him. If you're a quarterback, it's like that. I mean, you have no choice but to be like it. So it kind of brings like a little swagger to the team that, we had, but just a little bit more.
Yep. So towards the end of last season, Deebo, I know you were injured a little bit when Brock Purdy became the starter, though you did have some massive playoff games with Brock. Do you feel like you have that continuity with him at quarterback, or do you think there's still room to grow there?
I feel like in this game, there's always room to grow. You can never be satisfied with where you're at. You always want to be better and better week in and week out, day in and day out. So I feel like, we can always get better in every aspect.
Hey, Deebo, curious, Brandon Aiyuk had a huge game on Sunday for the Pittsburgh Steelers. What have you noticed this year in terms of his growth as a player?
If you ask me, Brandon been growing since he's been in the league. And I've seen it firsthand, and just, the things that he's done, the thing that he done this past Sunday, it didn't impress me. It didn't impress anybody that's part of our team, because that's like what we're used to. This is what we see day in and day out all throughout camp and OTAs. It's just like, that's just who Brandon is. And like I stated earlier, it's kind of like, I'm very excited for people to, see what he's really capable of.
So guys, in the spirit of us doing our show, of course, from the Fantasy Football Happy Hour bar, I cooked up some Bartender Specials for you today.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
So basically, you can give me a hard pass, or you can say, you know what, I want that.
I'm in on that special.
And in spirit of having Deebo on the show, let's stick with the Niners' explosive offense. Okay. Special number 1 today, Barry. Mm-hmm. Brandon Aiyuk will score more fantasy points than Deebo Samuel this year.
Yeah, I like that. I'm going to buy that. Look, the fact of the matter is that a lot of Deebo's fantasy production when he was elite came from the rushing, right? And that's going to be he got a couple of carries against Pittsburgh. However, with Chris McCaffrey there, that role has been limited. And in fact, over the second half of the year, now again, Deebo was banged up, but Brandon Aiyuk had more fantasy points than Deebo Samuel. So we've seen this before. Again, there were some mitigating circumstances, but yeah, I actually, and I said this in the preseason, that I preferred Brandon Aiyuk at cost to Deebo Samuel. So given the fact that he's already got a big lead, I think it's going to be close. But yeah, I will buy that special. I like the idea. I do think Brandon Aiyuk is a legit wide receiver too, for the rest of the season. I'm at wide receiver 17 this week.
I think this is going to be really close, actually, much like it was last season. Both guys average over 13 fantasy points per game. Aiyuk 13.5, Deebo right at 13. And I'm going to go with that this year. So I'll take that special. Like Matthew said, he already has a huge lead. The only person to score more than him was the great Tyreek Hill. 28% target share in week 1, so a legit wide receiver. And if the offense is operating like this, then I'm loving Aiyuk every single week.
Yeah.
Lawrence, I cooked up special number 2 just for you. It's your Atlanta Falcons, all right? Bijan Robinson will have fewer touches than Tyler Allgeier for the second straight week. Not for the year, just for this week against the Chargers.
All right, so I do have Bijan ranked a little lower this week. I got him at running back 8 this week, and have Tyler Allgeier ranked a little higher at running back 26, because he gonna get him a touchdown. But I'm going to say no, because week 1, they were playing against the Panthers, rookie quarterback, young offense. This week, they're still playing against a young offense in Green Bay and Jordan Love.
Yep.
But they looked a lot more established and played a lot better, albeit against the Bears defense. They looked a lot more polished. So for them to keep up with that, Bijan's going to have to be more involved. And you saw Bijan all over the formation last week running in motion while Allgeier was in the backfield. So I'm going to say Bijan has more touches, but Arthur Smith will hear me say this, and just because I said it, he going to make sure it don't happen.
Lawrence, you and I are agreeing way too much. I completely agree with you. The fact of the matter is game script really worked for the Atlanta Falcons in week number 1, where they were able to get both guys a bunch of touches. That was the first game of the season. And, I really think just, Arthur Smith is trying to hide his quarterback. That's really what he wants to do here. So you think about the Green Bay Packers, who allowed the most targets and tied for the most receptions to opposing running backs in week 1, even in a game in which they were dominating. I think the Packers offense is pretty good, and so that's what happened. The Bears had to throw it, and they had to dump it down to the running backs. I think you'll see that a decent amount. So Bijan Robinson, who played 65% of the team snaps in week 1, 63% of his touches came in the first half. I think that and he's their passing down back. They're just, Allgeier's not a part of the passing game. So I think in a game in which game script won't allow them to run as much as they did against the Panthers, yes, they'll need to be throwing a little bit more. And I think they don't want him throwing downfield. I think they want him dumping off to Bijan Robinson. Yeah, so I have Bijan Robinson at running back 6 this week, Allgeier at running back 31. So I just, again, 55% of his touches came in the fourth quarter when they were winning. I still think let me put it this way. I'll just be very clear about this. If I have Bijan Robinson, I am not panicking.
No way.
If I have Drake London or Kyle Pitts, I am totally panicking.
For who though? For Drake London or Kyle Pitts?
I'm going to say for Drake London.
I would say Drake London.
Because Kyle Pitt, first off, the bar to be a useful tight end in fantasy is so much lower. So,
exactly.
but I mean, Drake, where you drafted Drake London, you gave up.
You're scared right now.
Honestly, there are people that drafted Drake London ahead of Brandon Aiyuk, right?
For
I mean,
sure.
there are right. So, think about that, right? I mean, there's guys that you just don't feel good about, right? I mean, whatever. I mean, Drake London went ahead of Zay Flowers. Drake London went ahead of, in some leagues, Tyler Lockett. There's a lot of people where Drake London was a trendy sleeper for a lot of people, not for me. I literally have 0 shares of Drake London, and it's no disrespect to Drake London, who I think is insanely talented. I just think he doesn't have a quarterback, and he's got a coach that wants to do 2 things: hide his quarterback, and more importantly, he can win that way. That's the thing that people aren't getting about this. For all the criticism of Arthur Smith, and I'm on that list. You and I, Lawrence, we had a lot of fun last year with Arthur Smith and free Kyle Pitts. Lawrence literally wore a free Kyle Pitts shirt this past Sunday. But in all seriousness, they won. They won. I mean, they won
by a lot.
By a lot. Yeah. For all of us, the fact of the matter is that Arthur Smith's job is to win games for the Atlanta Falcons, and he won last week hiding his quarterback. If you're Arthur Smith, why on earth would you go away from that? And so game script may not allow him to do that.
It won't work this week.
It won't work this week, but he's going to need to be down 10 points before he starts throwing. He wants to stick to the run as much as possible.
We're going to move special number 2 to the secret menu. Arthur Smith, you can come in and order that. Tyler Allgeier touches over Bijan. We'll see. So our last one here, guys. Barry, Tyjae Spears will play more snaps than Derrick Henry again in week 2 against the Chargers.
No. I'm not taking that special. You can give that to the customers that complain or whatever. I'm not buying that at all. It was weird, right? Look, here's the thing. He played 56% of the team snaps in week 1. This is Tyjae Spears. He played on 83% of the snaps on 3rd and 4th down. Okay, fine. I don't think at home against the Chargers that will be the case. After week 1, Coach Vrabel said, quote, we're going to need Derrick and everybody so we can figure out what we can do consistently. Derrick will be a huge part of that. I can assure you. He had 47% of the team snaps in week 1. Last year, he had only 1 game below a 50% snap rate last year. I think this is just a little bit game script dependent, maybe getting into it. Also, keep in mind, Ryan Tannehill was as bad as any quarterback in the NFL in week 1. I don't expect that to continue as well. The Dolphins had their way with the Chargers. You've got a West Coast team coming east for a 1 o'clock game. I think it'll be smoother sledding for the Tennessee offense. I don't think Tannehill will be nearly as bad, and I think they get back to riding King Henry. I'm not buying this at all.
Yeah, I'm going to hit a cancel on this special too, Connor. Derrick Henry's actually my running back 5 for this week, so no can do. I'm all in on him this week. And I think, he had the long reception against the Saints. So, big guy, man, get him a little breather. And I think that just led to Tajay Spears just getting a little more reps than what they thought. As you could see, the touches didn't amount to that. So I'm going with Derrick Henry this week.
I will say this, though. If Tajay Spears is still available in your league, love him as a stash.
Yeah, without a doubt. Okay, with that, we're going to take our first break. But when we're back, should you start or sit Christian Kirk? The answer next on Keep It Open or Close It Out.
It's another bar thing, if you get that. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBC Sports and RotoWorld.com. Just want to thank you so much for watching what you just watched, or at least being too lazy to click out of it after the autoplay just kept it going. So either way, thank you so much for just letting it scroll by your screen. And now I'd like to ask you respectfully, okay? Respectfully, please subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel for the latest NFL news, fantasy headlines from RotoWorld, and betting analysis from NBC Sports Edge.